In my last video, we talked about my personal choice, which was the Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium. And it got me thinking, why don't I dispense this advice continuously? So I'm gonna do this per segment. So this is gonna be a new series on our channel called Pablo's Picks. And today we're gonna start with a very popular segment, the MPV class. And this is my personal choice, the Hyundai Stargazer GLS Premium. In terms of looks, there is that old saying where people say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that is the same in the case of the Stargazer. I know a few people who really don't like the way it looks. I personally, along with some other people, really like the way it looks. I think it looks very futuristic, very out there, but without it looking odd, like a spaceship, like the Staria. I think the Staria looks odd. The Stargazer, great proportions. It looks big but not too big, not small and compact. It just looks really futuristic and cool. But my favorite design feature has to be the H lights. Like, I mean, look at that. Can you imagine this at night? Because the Stargazer is an MPV and a family car at that, everything here in the interior you'll see is biased towards that target market. So the one thing I like the most about the interior is that there's a lot of space for anything. Like here, I have my wallet, my phone. Kelvin has his phone there, and there's more space here. You can put more stuff there. Then you have sort of this. You can put something there too, here on top of the and then here, there's another space. I don't know what you can fit in there, but you can fit something else in there. You have your cup holders. There's so many cup holders. There's two here. You have like two more on each door card there. The back, the second row also has a lot of cup holders. And you also have a lot of space to put other things too. So in terms of it being a family car, they really honed in on that. And you can see that in the interior the most. And moving on, it's time to talk about what else you get. So this instrument cluster is fully digital. I'm not so impressed by it because there's not, even if it's digital, there's no physical, I mean, the old school looking gauges. It's just this, you get the numbers, which I'm not really a fan of, but if you like tech and modern looking stuff, there you go, you have that. So that changes color actually every time you change the drive mode. We'll get to that later. You have this screen here, which is housed in this cluster. Now this cluster actually is the most polarizing thing in the interior. I know a lot of people who either like it or really hate it. I'm one of those it's indifferent. It's there, I don't mind it, but I'm not necessarily a fan of it. But anyway, the screen, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, sadly not wireless, but that's okay. The feature is there. But a cool thing is wireless charging. You get that in this price range. Wireless charging is not something you normally see, so it's good that Hyundai put that here. Unfortunately, for those who like having dual zone climate controls, you don't get that. Even though this is the top of the line, you just get these standard knobs here for the climate control system. Although you get a system for the front and you get for the second row also, so at least there's that. Other than that, the controls on the steering wheels, either to control this, or you have the buttons here to control the safety features. Like this one's for the lane keep assist, and you can change the screen information with this button. So there's that. So it's pretty standard stuff. Nothing really out there in terms of features. But when you think about the features that I mentioned, like wireless charging, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the space and cubby holes that you have here, the safety things that I talked about earlier when I was driving, these are things that again you would normally find in cars priced minimum 200,000 pesos and above. These are cars that are in another price bracket, yet the Stargazer has those features here. So that's what I like about it. It makes you feel like you got the bargain of the century, like a steal, so to speak. So features, driving, great things about the Stargazer. So yeah, you wouldn't want to look for anything else. Oh, before I forget, another neat feature in the second row, last thing, is that it actually has a tray here. So in case you're sitting in the back, weirdly the tray only comes here on the right side. You don't get one on the left side. But if you're sitting in the second row and you're on the right side, you can put the tray up, put your laptop, or eat a meal. So yeah, again, features wise, don't need anything else. I think it's complete in terms of features. Space, it has enough space for 7 people comfortably, children or adult. Driving, I think it's perfectly fine in terms of driving. There's nothing wrong with it. It's comfortable for everybody. So the last thing I want to talk about, I know I've been saying a lot of things and it's really obvious already that I really like the Stargazer. The last thing I want to talk about is the fit and finish of the interior. Normally, it's a car in this price point around below 1.5 million pesos. You're used to seeing cheap, plasticky materials with really wide open panel gaps and things that rattle and squeak as you drive along. And I'm happy to report that in the Stargazer, the fit and finish is very good. You don't hear any rattling panels, squeaky panels. These materials here are actually really nice. They feel solid. Like, for example, this aircon vent. In other cars, this is very loose, but here, still tight. It still goes and up and down really well. I don't see any panel gaps also. So, in terms of the fit and finish and the feel, you feel like you bought something more expensive, but really you didn't have to break the bank to get the Stargazer. And that would make anybody feel good, honestly. It feels, I'm not gonna say premium, but it feels really, really solid. More solid than the rest of the lineup. I mean, its competitors at least. So that's I think the best thing about the Stargazer overall is the fit and finish of the whole interior. One of the main reasons why I like the Stargazer and why it's my choice for a car in the MPV segment is because it actually drives so much better than most of its competitors. When you drive an MPV, you're usually used to it being big, narrow, big in terms of like weight and size, narrow, and usually underpowered. But you don't feel that way in the Stargazer. I like that the engine feels powerful enough. I'm driving it right now in eco mode, but I don't need to press that hard on the accelerator to get it going, to get it to highway speeds. The transmission is well tuned. It's an IVT, supposed to be their version of a CVT, but there's no rubber banding feeling. It feels smooth in upshifts and downshifts. It's very natural. So I like the way that the Stargazer drives. And also, it's actually very comfortable. In this class also, any MPV, you're usually used to it being a bouncy or harsh ride. But here, it's well-tuned. It's not, I'm not gonna say that it's as comfortable as, let's say, a sedan, but it's actually very good. I was expecting it to be more bouncy, but it's not. It's very good. Moving on to safety. The nice thing about the Stargazer, this one, the top of the line, is that you get a whole, how do I say this? Not a whole amount of safety features, but you get some that are, I think, very notable, like lane keep assist. You would expect to find that in a car in an extra bracket of price higher. You also have cruise control, you have, of course, automatic braking. In terms of emergency braking, then you have blind spot monitoring. These are things that you don't normally find in cars in this class, but the Stargazer has enough of them. So at this price range, actually you're getting a lot for the money. So that's a great thing about it. So in terms of driving, I think that's the key thing I like about the Stargazer the most. It's because when you buy an MPV, they're really not great cars to drive. You expect that. You're compromising for space because you need the space. But here, I'm not gonna say that it's gonna light your pants on fire and make you super duper excited, but it drives well enough just for you to feel like you made the right decision. You bought the right car. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's comfortable, but if you need to get some going, then it's perfectly fine. That 1.5 liter engine is more than capable of making you feel like you can overtake just anybody on the road. So yeah, driving wise, no problem. The Hyundai Stargazer GLS Premium IVT retails for a very, very reasonable 1,288,000 pesos. That puts it right above the same area as all the other top of the line models you can find in the Velos. Actually, I think the Expander and the BRV, these are more expensive than the Stargazer, and honestly, you don't get more. Actually, for me, this is the most bang for buck because you get so much features that you weren't even expecting, honestly, in a car in this class. You get space, you actually get more comfort, and honestly, the best thing about it is it just feels so well thought out. Every single feature that they put and every single what do you call this, all the spaces, all the things that they thought about was really for people who need the space. They need it for their family and all of that, and that I think is the reason why this would be my pick for the MPV segment. It's because in a segment that I'm not gonna say is normally forgotten by automotive brands. No, they take them seriously, but they're always like, oh, it's just about space, these people just want space. But the Stargazer showed that you can take it a step further. You can give them the space that they want, but you can also give them all the other creature comforts that would make the whole ownership experience better. The Stargazer is just the most well thought out product in the whole MPV segment. And that's why it's my personal pick for the MPV class. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. And also don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. This has been Pablo Salapantan of YugaAuto. Thank you for watching. Paalam.